You ever have that feeling, you're working harder than ever, but it just seems like your money doesn't stretch as far as it used to? Well, that's not just a feeling. There's a hidden force at play, a, a silent thief that's quietly draining the value from your savings. But here's the good news. There is a way out. And that's what we're going to break down today, the escape plan. All right, let's just rip the Band-Aid off at this one. It's a quote from the billionaire investor Ray Dalio, and it's pretty blunt. Cash is trash. Now, I know that probably goes against everything you've ever been taught about saving money, right? But in the world we live in today, you're about to see why this might be one of the most important pieces of financial advice out there. So who or what is this silent thief? In this first part, we're going to pull back the curtain and look at what's really going on with the money sitting in your bank account. We're going to see why everything from your grocery bill to the price at the pump just keeps climbing. Okay, so at its heart, inflation is actually pretty simple. Just imagine a tiny village. There's a fixed amount of stuff to buy, right? Bread, tools, whatever. Then one day, a helicopter flies over and just dumps piles of cash on everyone. All of a sudden, everybody's feeling rich, and they all rush out to buy more stuff. But wait, the amount of bread and tools hasn't changed. So what does the shop owner do? He raises his prices. That, right there, is inflation in a nutshell. Now, to see this in the real world, just look at this number. It's kind of staggering. In the year 2020 alone, thanks to a ton of economic stimulus measures, a mind-blowing 22% of all US dollars currently in existence were created out of thin air. Think about that. Almost a quarter of the entire money supply was printed in just 1 year. So here's the key takeaway, the thing you have to understand. It isn't just that prices for things are going up. The more important truth is that the value of each and every dollar you hold is actively going down. All those trillions of new dollars are basically watering down the value of the money you worked so hard to earn and save. And that brings us to a really dangerous idea that a lot of us have. Let's dig into why the very places you've been told are safe to keep your money, well, they might actually be the absolute riskiest places to be right now.
So just think about this for a second. You know that savings account you've been so disciplined about putting money into every month? Is it actually growing your wealth, or is it more like a leaky bucket where that life energy, the time and effort you traded for that cash, is slowly but surely draining away?
To get the real answer, you have to understand this one critical idea: real return. See, it's not about the interest rate the bank advertises. Not at all. It's about what your money's actually worth after you subtract the rate of inflation. That's it. That's the only number that really, truly matters.
And when you look at it this way, the problem becomes painfully obvious. On one side, you've got the interest rate you're getting from your savings account. And let's be honest, it's tiny, right? Maybe you're lucky if you get 0.5%. And on the other side, you've got the inflation rate, which is just massively higher. The math, it just doesn't lie. You're losing.
This chart really drives the point home. Your nominal return, that's what your bank statement shows you earned, it's a positive number. It looks like you're making a little bit of money. But then you look at your real return, your actual real-world purchasing power, and it's deep in the negative. It's a mathematical guarantee that you are losing buying power every single year.
But now, here's the crazy flip side to all this. If you have fixed-rate debt, like a 30-year mortgage, inflation is actually your best friend. Why? Because while the value of every dollar is shrinking, your monthly payment stays exactly the same. You're literally paying back your loan with money that is worth less and less over time. Okay, so if holding cash is a guaranteed loss and your savings account is a leaky bucket, where in the world are you supposed to put your money to escape this trap? Well, that brings us to part 3, the alternative asset escape. This is the plan. The legendary investor Warren Buffett lays this out really clearly. He has a kind of hierarchy for times like these. At the absolute bottom, the worst thing you can possibly own is cash. A little step up from that are bonds, which still get eaten alive by inflation. Then you have things like gold, which don't produce anything but can hold their value. But right at the very top, the best place to be is in productive businesses. So let's just break down those categories. You've got your hard assets. We're talking physical stuff like real estate, oil, farmland, things that have real tangible value. Then there's what some people call ancient money, like gold and silver. These tend to act as a chaos hedge. They do well when things get uncertain. Of course, you have productive businesses, stocks, which can actually grow your wealth. And then there's this new kid on the block, digital scarcity, things like Bitcoin, which have a hard-coded, unchangeable supply. But, and this is a huge but from Buffett, not all businesses are created equal here. An average business, say a big utility company, has to spend a ton of cash just to maintain its equipment.
And at today's inflated prices, they're basically running on a treadmill just to stay in the same place. A great business, on the other hand, doesn't need much new capital and has what's called pricing power. Think of a brand that everyone loves. They can raise their prices to keep up with inflation and customers will still pay it. That's where the real magic happens.
So we've talked about all these external things you can buy, right? Businesses, gold, real estate. But what if the single greatest, most productive asset you could ever own isn't something you can find on the stock market? What if it's something a whole lot closer to home? So let me just ask you this. What is the one asset out there that no government can print more of? What's the one thing they can't devalue and in fact becomes more valuable the more time and energy you put into it? And here's the answer, once again from Warren Buffett. He said, the best protection against inflation is to invest in yourself. Think about it. Your skills, your knowledge, your reputation, these are assets you own 100%. If you become one of the best at what you do, you can always command a price for your work that keeps up with the cost of living, no matter what happens to the dollar. And so that really leaves us with one final and maybe the most important question of all. It's not about what stock to pick or what asset to buy. It's about you. In this world where that silent thief is constantly working against you, what is the single most valuable skill you can start investing in today to build your own ultimate shield?